It's Triple Crown here, Saturday, December 7th, 2024. Heading in the Eastgate Mall, going in the main entrance this time. I am no longer going around the whole mall to go through a dark side corridor that I normally do. Much more streamlined to go in the front entrance as it would turn out. But today I am going in with really no game plan. I'm going to see what opportunities come my way. I have the luxury of not having to buy anything right now because my next show is not until the end of January. In terms of setting up, I'll be doing plenty of buying and plenty of walking around in between now and then, but really, I don't have to have things for my showcases the following weekend, which is definitely a much different change of pace than how it was earlier this calendar year. I'll see what opportunities come my way today, whether they be big or small. Let's go ahead and walk into the show. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. What are you asking on your Jerry Rice pink?
I think I've got 45. Yeah, I've got 45 on it. It's out of 11.
Okay, cool.
But I'd work with you if you're looking at it.
Yeah. What about your Bo Nix? I'm not sure what that is.
I'm right in like the 225 range. That one's out of 24.
Oh, that's sweet. Is that the new gold standard?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I haven't seen it before. How about the Burrow Immaculate?
165.
I assume it's not game used or anything? Or?
I don't think so. No, not from any specific game.
Figured as such.
Yeah, most of them these days.
Yeah. And then the Diggs Mythical?
I would be right around like 165.
165, okay.
Yeah, most of them do go a little above that, but there's none on him right now. So.
That one's a gold, right?
Yeah, out of 10.
Okay. Big challenge ahead of me here. I've already seen a lot of people who buy for repackers themselves, or whatnot sellers kind of lurking around the show, walking around buying things. I've even seen some dealer-to-dealer stuff going on. Dealers just going over to buy from one another, which is kind of crazy. I mean, the show just started. You'd think that you'd be more so stuck at your table, but not the case today. This presents me a bit of a challenge because it means that a lot of things that maybe I normally would look at are going to be most certainly picked over by the time that I get around to them. And if they are still there, there's probably a good reason. The things I'm talking about, your case hit stuff, your downtowns and kabooms, chances are those will be gobbled up before I even see them today. A lot of the really nice ultra-modern football should also probably be gobbled up. Some baseball, maybe some very nice high-end basketball will be picked up as well. That means I need to kind of pivot away from what a lot of the repackers and whatnot guys tend to go after. That's going to mean digging in value boxes. That's going to mean going through stacks of cards on tables like you'll see here in a moment. It's going to be looking for cards that are not necessarily of hot players, maybe looking for things that are more up my alley. I like a lot of veteran color cards or veteran autographs, whereas I feel a lot of the repack stuff is more so rookie oriented. People always like the flawless stuff and the NT stuff in the repacks, I'm sure. But there are still plenty of quality cards out there for me to find. It's just going to take a little bit more creativity, and it also probably means there's going to be no football. It's going to be mostly baseball. So I'm keeping all those things in mind as I go through here and try to find some things early on football-wise before I know that the hard pivot to baseball is likely going to happen. Almost dropped my stack there. That's all right, though. I recovered it. But I put aside this Vita Vea card. On surface, it probably doesn't seem all that impressive. It's just a rookie silver prism, but that is kind of one of my little hidden secrets when I'm looking through football prism value boxes. 2018 silver prisms are very short printed. They only made them in hobby SKUs, and they were one per hobby box. Meaning you weren't getting them out of cello packs or blasters or whatever your preferred retail method of ripping was. Silvers only came in hobby. This only applies for football. You can still pull silvers in the basketball release. I know that there's a certain Mavericks player who's very popular that you could have pulled his silvers out of the retail SKUs. But for any of your favorite football rookies from the 2018 class, like a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson, you're going to have to stick to hobby. Now, is Vita Vea up there in terms of his hobby presence? No, but he's still a great player, and for only a couple of bucks, according to the price sticker, I am most definitely going to pick that one up. That might end up being a nice little hidden gem find.
Holiday shopping.
You take 40 on these two?
Sure.
Cool.
And like I said, if you want larger stuff, I'll work something out with you, but completely understand if you want to pass on them too.
Yeah.
There's always some people who come around and end up making like mass deals. So.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've been on both ends of it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Appreciate you.
I'll keep them in mind.
400 for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you looked up any recent comps though, or?
Have I? No,
Yeah.
I haven't.
I would let it go for 400.
Okay.
Just I'd like to see her go to a good home, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 10 of them, so
yeah.
even if there is something
Yes.
recent, I doubt I'm going to find it again.
I actually pulled that myself out of a 2020 box, I think it was, you know.
Oh, really? Right after you see my attention to detail work in my favor, now you're going to see it backfire on me here. You can kind of hear my side conversation talking about this card in front of me. What I believe to be a Breanna Stewart first-year WNBA Prism Gold Auto out of 10. You hear me saying there's only 10 of them out there. I am fully convinced it's a gold, and I know that the card is kind of far away. I tried to zoom in on it as much as I can. But I think on the surface, if you look at it, it is pretty gold, right? Well, I made a pretty big mistake here in assuming that it was gold. When I got home, I was kind of looking at it because I was trying to see if it was one of the bookends. I can't find the serial number on it though, and sure enough, I was mistaken. This is a green. If you're not familiar with Breanna Stewart, this card is a Seattle Storm card. Their colors are similar to those of the Seattle Supersonics of days past, where you have the green and the gold. Now, the card was mostly gold. To me, the parallel would be the part of the card that is the most coverage on the card, whereas the team color would just be kind of the trim or the border on it. Well, not in this insert set for WNBA. There is a little sliver of green in the card. That is the actual parallel. It's a green prism. Now, don't get me wrong. This is still a really solid card. It's a PSA 10 auto of Breanna Stewart, who is a very well-known name in the WNBA sphere. It is a first-year prism card for this specific product, WNBA, and it's also a Pop 1 for those playing at home. But I kind of paid for it thinking that it was a gold, and would I have paid this strong for it if it was a green? No, I would not. So yeah, this one stings a little bit. I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I'm not mad. I still like the card, but I definitely don't think I would have been taking it home had I really paid attention and known exactly what it was instead of just assuming it was gold based on how the card looked.
Yeah.
Thank you again,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, buddy.
What is the Tyreek Hill white number 2?
35, sorry.
About a 35?
Yep.
I get taxed, but like my mom doesn't pay like taxes at the end of the year. Every car is
I kind of chuckled at this. Go ahead and rewind the video if you didn't quite catch it from this last clip, but the kid next to me is telling his friends that his mom told him that he's going to have to pay taxes on all these cards that he's sold over the past year. Yeah, that's how it works. It sucks. Nobody likes doing it, but yeah, if you sell your cards for a profit, you will have to pay a tax on said profits. That's just the way it works. 80 work for all these?
Say 80?
Yeah.
Maybe 85. I have to ask.
I would do 60 without the Wagner or 80 for all those. Which one? 80. Built my little stack there for $80. That Tyreek Hill is out of 35. I was not expecting that. I was thinking it was like 149 in my head. It's already graded for me at 10. That's just double the cost of grading fees to get a nice Tyreek Hill. Kind of a color match, I guess. White's kind of cheating because I think every NFL team has a white jersey, but it matches the jersey that is on the card. Looks really sharp, presents very well. I bought for $40. That felt like a pretty decent value. And then the Honus Wagner Gold, that's just something that's more up my alley. I like the old-time players on the Chrome cards. Chrome Platinum offers plenty of that, and it's a nice gold wave card. You guys know I love my golds. The Amon-Ra, of course, my Lions bias jumping out, as with the Kevin Zeitler autograph. He is, I believe, one of the top-rated guards in the league this year. Definitely been a welcome addition to the Lions offensive line. That's just one of those, like I said, hidden gems, trying to dig through boxes, trying to weave and bob when everyone else is kind of scooping up the lower-hanging fruit.
But, I mean, I would do I'm not big on defense.
I am strolling through this value box ever so casually, seeing a lot of things that I really like. There's a lot of heritage parallels in there. There's some nice Topps Chrome parallels. You saw me pause on that Torrey Hunter Atomic. Those are numbered to 10. It is quite the range of stuff in there, from really decades of different cards. There's even a random 71 Topps Brooks Robinson in there. There's some 90s inserts of Bonds. Nothing crazy, but still some cool shiny stuff. It's really everything in the kitchen sink in this value box. There are so many cool things in there that, quite frankly, it just behooves me at this point to make an offer on the whole box rather than building a rather large stack, because even if there are things in there that maybe I don't necessarily want, if I can get this whole box for the right price point per card, which I'm thinking is probably going to be under $5 per card, it is definitely worthwhile for me to just go ahead and take the whole thing home with me. I'll see if he's receptive to it. Some sellers are not always looking to dump their whole value box all at once, so we'll see what he says. I'm going to throw a crazy idea out there. Do you know what you would want for this whole box?
It's number I haven't priced it.
But that's up to you.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, it's numbered out of 35.
I know, like, so many things in here that it might just make more sense to just go for it all at this point. Alright, he doesn't really have a number in mind, as you can hear. I'm going to go back through and keep digging and seeing all the stuff that he's got in here and just kind of double check to make sure I'm thinking of this clearly. Sometimes I can go through the first couple cards in the box and think it's a really good idea, but then once I start going back through things a second time or even a third time, I start to get a little bit more clarity, and the asking price, or at least the target price in this case, doesn't necessarily line up with where I would want to be on the whole box. I'm going through here, and there's some things that on the surface probably don't look all that crazy, but some of these autographs are pretty solid. They're 10, 15 bucks a piece. I really think that if I can get this for under $5 a piece, just kind of counting how many cards are in there, which I'm guessing there's anywhere between 225 to 250, that would mean that really under $1,000 I'd be doing all right. Preferably I could get to 800 or less. That would be the perfect scenario, but I would settle at anywhere from 8 to 1,000, and I hope that he has the same mindset in mind. If it's anything less than 800, then I will immediately make the deal happen and get this box. But he doesn't say anything here for a while. I'm kind of just feeling him out, seeing what he would say, looking at some of the other things on his table, seeing if maybe I want to add something else to it. He kind of smiles at me. I'm kind of looking at him expectantly, waiting for an answer of what he would want for the box, but I'm not getting that, so I kind of have to initiate it again, and I'm going to have to make a push here if I want to go ahead and get a lot of these cards. You wouldn't have like a starting point where you would think that?
I'd probably be in like the 900 range.
900? Okay.
Just calculating maybe 100 cards.
All right, 900. I like to hear that. I will counter him at 8, and if he says no to that, I might try to throw in one of the nicer cards on his table for perhaps a little bit more. Maybe I could add something, you know, in the 75 to 100 range and make it 950, or I'll go up to 1,000 if I absolutely have to, but don't really want to go much beyond that. So what I'm doing here is I am counting up the number of cards in this row, and then I'm comparing it to the number of cards in the other row. Now there are different thicknesses to the cards here. There's some relic cards in there, and there's some patch cards in there, some manufactured patch cards. So not everything is equal. Some cards are in top loaders, some of them are just in sleeves, but I can still get a good estimate of about how many cards I think are in there. He doesn't seem to be in a huge rush. I'm not really in a huge rush. No one else is really looking through this box at this moment in time. So I don't feel any sense of urgency to kind of, you know, push forward. I'm going to take my time, and what I'll do here is double count the cards to make sure that I have a good idea of how many cards in here, that I didn't under or overestimate it. And also at the same time, this will give me one last look through to make sure that I'm thinking about this clearly. He threw out the offer here, so I don't have to accept it yet, but I want to make sure that this box is as good as I think it is before I fully commit to my counter offer, which it does check out, and I'm going to go ahead and make that counter offer now. Did we get to 800 on it?
I mean, I traded about 60,000.
Right, yeah, you got it.
Probably not. Honestly, I'd rather hang on to it, but I would do 900.
900.
Yeah.
That tells me really all I need to know. His tone suggests that really I'm going to need to make an offer that would impress him and make sense for him to be motivated to move this box, which I don't blame him. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and I can only imagine how long it took to accumulate it. I respect a well put together value box like this one here, and I definitely want to make sure that my offer is strong. I'm going to go to plan B here, try to pick out something that's on his table that I can add in to maybe knock down my cost ever so slightly on this box. But if he's not willing to jump on that, I'm just going to take it at 900 and go ahead and head home, because really, that's plenty of cards for me for the day. You do 950 with Vlad?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Okay. I like this. This is sweet. This deal is done. It worked out to right around $4 a card, so even better than I initially estimated, around the $5 mark. And look, the value here is not all going to come back on one card, right? This one will be a little bit more of a grind, but this will keep me well stocked for a while. This really will further push me to not rush into buys right now, because, hey, there's plenty of cards here. There will be plenty for me to send to ComC, whatever I decide not to kind of keep with me. And then kind of everything else is up in the air what I might try to do with it. There's plenty of different avenues to explore. That is definitely one of the advantages of bulk buys. This one also makes me feel quite a bit better about the Brianna Stewart card earlier. You know, perhaps some of the value that I lost there will be made up for with this value box purchase here. But that is going to wrap up my time at the Eastgate card show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking out all of the deals. I'll be sure to see you next week. Happy holidays. Take care, stay safe, and be kind.